The Bronx always had a sound of its own. Some nights it was music from a passing car, bass rattling through cracked windows. Other nights it was the shouting of neighbors fighting on the street below. But tonight, the loudest sound came from the leaking pipe in the small apartment where Emily lived. Drip, drip, drip. She sat cross-legged on a thin mattress, hugging her knees. She was only 15, but the world had already pressed its weight down on her shoulders. The mattress smelled of dampness, and the window by her bed was broken at one corner, letting in a thin stream of cold air. Her schoolbooks lay beside her. Their covers were bent, the pages marked by stains from rain and spilled soup. But to Emily, they were treasures. She kept them close, like someone guarding gold. In the kitchen, her mother tried to stir soup in a battered pot. The smell of onions filled the apartment, though the soup was thin, almost watery. Her mother's arms moved slowly, tiredly. "Emily," she called softly, "come and eat before it gets cold." Emily stood, her bare feet touching the cold floor. The tiles were cracked, some missing altogether. She joined her mother, who forced a smile as she ladled the soup into a small bowl. Emily saw the bruises on her mother's arm, half hidden by her sleeve. She didn't ask about them. She never did. The door slammed open suddenly. Emily flinched. Her father staggered in, the smell of alcohol rushing ahead of him. His eyes were red, his steps uneven. "No food for me," he growled, his voice sharp. Her mother tried to answer, "There's some left, But his fist hit the table. The bowl shook, soup spilling onto the floor. "You eat while I starve." His voice rose, echoing in the tiny room. Emily's chest tightened. Her heart thudded painfully, but she kept her face blank. Crying only made things worse. He turned his gaze on her, his finger stabbing the air. "You think school will save you? If you fail again, you'll end up like her, on the street." The door slammed as he left, his heavy footsteps fading down the stairs. Silence filled the apartment, broken only by her mother's quiet sobs. Emily clenched her books tighter. A voice rose inside her, soft but firm. "One day, I will leave. One day, I will not live like this." Morning in the Bronx was gray. Sirens wailed in the distance, and garbage trucks clattered down the narrow streets. Emily walked quickly, her old shoes slapping the pavement. The soles were thin, almost worn through. Other students passed her in groups. Their laughter echoed, their sneakers bright, their backpacks new. Emily kept her head down. She was used to the looks, the whispers, the snickers about her clothes. At school, she sat quietly in the back. Teachers hardly noticed her, but one afternoon, a cheerful voice pulled her out of her shell. "You're Emily, right? I'm Jasmine." Emily looked up. A girl with braided hair and bright eyes smiled at her. Jasmine had an energy that filled the room, and before Emily could reply, she was already chatting. "You're so quiet, but don't worry, I'll help you. Stick with me." For the first time, Emily smiled. But not everyone was friendly. In the hallway, Vanessa appeared. She was tall, always dressed in the latest sneakers, her nails polished, her voice sharp. A group of girls followed her like shadows. Her eyes scanned Emily's old shoes, her faded shirt, her small frame. She smirked. "Poor Bronx girl," she said under her breath. "You won't survive here without me." Emily said nothing, but her chest tightened. Vanessa didn't give up. She started leaving little gifts on Emily's desk. A pack of gum, a shiny bracelet, once, even a pair of sneakers that looked almost new. "You like them?" Vanessa asked, casually. Emily hesitated. "Why would you give me these?" Vanessa leaned close, her perfume heavy. Because I can. And because I know what it's like to want more than scraps. Stick with me, Emily. I can show you how to live better. Emily wanted to refuse, but that night, she heard her mother crying quietly in the kitchen. The rent was due. The fridge was almost empty. Emily sat in the dark, hugging her books, listening. The next day, Vanessa cornered her again. There's a man outside school. All you have to do is give him an envelope. 5 minutes of your time. You do that, you get $50. Emily's breath caught. $50. It was more than her mother made in a whole week cleaning houses. Her stomach turned, but she thought of the empty fridge. She thought of her mother's bruises. Slowly, she nodded. That evening, she walked toward the parked car. The man inside wore a black coat. His smile was too wide. She slipped the envelope into his hand. He gave her a folded bill. Her fingers trembled as she hid it in her notebook. One job turned into two. Two into many. Soon, Emily was sneaking out at night, following Vanessa through alleys and dim streets. Packages, messages, money exchanged in whispers. Her locker filled with gifts, clothes, shoes, snacks she had never tasted before. She began sending small bills home, telling her mother it was scholarship money. Her mother kissed her forehead and said, "God has not forgotten us." But guilt gnawed at Emily. She felt trapped between pride and fear. Michael, a quiet boy in her class, began watching her closely. One afternoon at the library, he leaned closer. "You've been leaving school late," he said softly. Emily's hands froze on her notebook. "It's nothing." Michael's eyes searched hers. "It's not nothing. I've seen you with Vanessa. You're in something dangerous." Her voice cracked. "You don't understand. I'm helping my family." He shook his head slowly. "Some help destroys more than it saves." Emily turned away, but his words stayed with her. The night was cold when Vanessa finally said, "Tonight's special. There's a client waiting. Big money, Emily. Just one night, and you'll never worry again." Emily's heart pounded. She wanted to refuse, but her throat felt tight. She thought of her mother's tired eyes, her father's anger. A black car picked them up, the windows tinted. They drove deeper into Brooklyn. The streets grew silent, the buildings taller, emptier. Finally, they stopped at an old warehouse with broken glass windows. Inside, the air smelled of smoke and rust. Candles flickered on the floor. Men in dark coats stood in a circle. In the center, a man in red robes lifted his hands. His voice was deep, echoing against the walls. "Welcome, child. Tonight you will be reborn." Emily froze. Her breath came fast. This was no client. This was something darker. Vanessa's nails dug into her arm. "Don't move," she hissed. Emily tried to step back, but fear locked her feet to the ground. "Stop," a voice shouted. Everyone turned. From the shadows, Michael stepped forward, holding his phone up. Its red light blinked. Recording. "You're all caught," he shouted. "The police are on their way." The man in red robes snarled. Vanessa cursed. Someone moved toward Michael, but he swung a metal pipe and smashed the generator. Darkness swallowed the warehouse. "Emily, run." A hand grabbed hers, Michael's. They dashed toward the side door. Shouts followed them, footsteps heavy on the concrete floor. Emily's lungs burned, her heart pounding as they burst into the cold night. They stumbled through weeds and broken fences. A man grabbed Emily's arm, but she tore free. Just as he lunged again, sirens wailed. Red and blue lights painted the warehouse walls. Police cars screeched to a stop. Officers stormed out, shouting commands. hands up. On the ground, Emily collapsed, trembling, as Vanessa was dragged screaming into handcuffs. The man in robes fought, but was forced into a patrol car. Michael held Emily close, whispering, "It's over. You're safe now." Emily sat in the principal's office, pale and shaken. Her mother clutched her hand, tears falling freely. "I thought I lost you," she whispered. The principal's face was stern but kind. He looked at Michael. "Your courage saved her life," he said. Emily turned to Michael. Her voice shook. "You risked everything for me." He gave a small smile. "Sometimes you don't wait for the right moment. You just act." Weeks later, Emily sat in class. Her books lay open, her pen steady in her hand. For the first time, she raised her voice, answering questions with confidence. There was no fear in her eyes now. No shame, only determination. In her heart, a quiet voice whispered, "The streets promise quick riches, but they hide sharp traps. Choose your path, or it will choose for you." Outside, sunlight spilled across New York, bright and wide. And Emily, for the first time, believed she was free.